News. Here is the news. On today's show, we've got some crazy solo ascents from around the world.
I climbed the route 7 times for preparation of the route.
Multi-pitch madness from Spain. And we've got a deal of the week, so stay tuned for that as well. But first up, we've got some worrying news from Nepal. The legendary skier and mountaineer Hilaree Nelson is reported as missing on Mount Manaslu, Nepal, the world's 8th highest peak. Outside reports that the 49-year-old American, who has a career that has spanned 2 decades, was reported to have made the summit of Manaslu and was on her descent when she fell into a crevasse. Nelson had been with her partner Jim Morrison, with whom she made the historical first ski descent of Lhotse back in 2018. Nelson's disappearance has fallen on the same day as a separate avalanche struck Manaslu, injuring 12 and killing a Nepali climber. In a sad update since the filming of this show, the body of Hilaree Nelson has been found and transported back to Kathmandu. Okay, next up, a little bit more local, we are in the Grand Massif. Polish climber Filip Babicz has made an astonishing 49-minute ascent of the Grand Capucin in the Mont Blanc Massif. Incredibly, he made the ascent solo and without a rope. Babicz, originally from Poland but now a resident of Courmayeur in Italy, has made the headlines in previous years with some extraordinary speed ascents, including the Aiguille Noire de Putry in 1 hour 30 minutes. The Grand Capucin mountain rises to 3,838 meters, and according to Planet Mountain, he climbed it via the Swiss route and the Au Sole Mio exit, around 300 meters of climbing at 6B+. We caught up with Filip to find out how he was doing.
The idea of speed solo on Grand Capucin I had since May of this year when I climbed the Swiss route the very first time. Immediately I saw the route is really good for this kind of climbing. It's on an iconic mountain for Mont Blanc and for all Alps, and it's my favorite kind of climbing, so it was done. Before my race, I climbed the route 7 times. The first one was in May, and then 6 times the last month for preparation of the route. The real difficulty of this climb was to climb precisely with a really high heart rate. My medium heart rate was 175, and on this altitude, on such a steep wall, it was really hard to be smooth on climbing.
A simply astounding ascent there from Filip Babicz. His record is becoming even more incredible with every speed ascent that he makes. Right, next up, we've got multi-pitch madness out in Spain. According to Gript.com, an international team of Sasha DiGiulian, Brette Harrington and Matilda Söderlund have made the first repeat of a 15-pitch, 610-meter, 8C or 514B on Peña Santa in Picos de Europa, Spain. DiGiulian and Söderlund sent the 514B crux pitch, Harrington sent everything but the crux, and it would have been her first 514. The name of the route is Rayu, and it was established back in 2020 by the Pau brothers Iker and Eneko and Kiko Cerda. And according to reports, this is the hardest multi-pitch ascent by an all-female team.
Come on, looking good. Come on, everything you got. Come on, nice. Come on.
That expedition has been about a year in the making if you follow Sasha DiGiulian on social media. She's been prepping for it and kind of weaving her way through COVID restrictions, eventually making it out of there this year to crown what has been a very impressive ascent by those 3. Okay, next up, we're heading to Patagonia. Planet Mountain reports that Colin has made an astounding first winter solo ascent of Super Canalata on Fitzroy in Patagonia. The Chamonix-based American athlete had previously soloed the route in 2009 during the summer, and in this winter success he had to go through a series of failed attempts before eventually getting the right conditions to be able to make the ascent. The route takes on all styles, ice, rock and mixed, and the 1600-meter climb that goes previously at 85 degrees 5+, took Colin 21.5 hours from car back to car, an extraordinary achievement. Colin doing what he does best, pushing ice climbing and rock climbing in the mountains to its very extreme. Amazing ascent there. Next up, we're headed to Jakarta. It was the final round of the lead and speed competition World Cup in Jakarta over the weekend, with the lead throwing up some interesting results in both the men's and the women's. In the men's, it was Eo Yurikusa who took the gold with his Japanese compatriot Masahiro Higuchi in second, and Germany's Sebastian Helenka taking the bronze. In the women's, it was Janja Garnbret who took the gold, with her main rival for this year, Cheon So, taking silver, and her Slovenian compatriot Mia Krampel taking the bronze. All this meant that overall, Janja Garnbret took the title in the women's, with Slovenian Luka Potokar, who finished 7th, took the overall title for the men's. In the speed rounds, the Indonesians dominated the men's, with a 1-2 of Aspar Aspar taking gold and Kirimul Kataban taking silver, with their fellow Indonesian Leonardo Vedrik taking the overall title. And in the women's speed final, Luan Deng of China took the gold, beating the Kalushka sisters, Natalia and Alexandra, into silver and bronze respectively. Alexandra Kalushka took the overall title. We caught up with Matt to find out a little bit more about what had gone on during the rounds.
Hello Hugo, hope you're good. Let's start with the speed. For the women's final, Luan Deng, she beat Natalia Kalushka. Now, the interesting thing is beta in this, because Team China use a beta that misses out hold 19, the second to last hold. And that's something the Indonesian team have in the last month been practicing, and they're starting to nail it already. I reckon next season we could see some really fast times from them as they perfect this new beta method. The men's final, I have never seen such a fast start to any speed finals. Kirimul Kataban was flying up the wall. He was half a body length ahead, but then when you go in that fast, it's hard not to make a mistake, and he slipped near the top, allowing Aspar Aspar to come through and take victory. The lead comp was equally atmospheric. Even the president's wife came to see it, apparently. The main talking point was the route itself. For the first time ever, the route setters had combined them. So the top headwall section, the last 15 or so moves, were the same for the men and women. Now, this doesn't mean they were climbing the same route, because the bottoms for both were different. But it's the first time that potentially men and women could climb on the same holds in a World Cup. Very interesting and potential for the future, especially considering that everyone keeps chatting about how some of the women are as good as the men. In fact, there's a rumour going around that Janja Garnbret climbed the men's route in Slovenia after that World Cup and found it easier than the women's route, so that tells you something. All right, we're done here in Jakarta, last World Cup of the season, and I'm about to go and jump on a very, very long flight. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Matt. Hope you're having fun out in Indonesia. Next up, Japan. Right, next up, we have got a rather extended 9A roundup. Planet Mountain reports that Italian climber Claudia Ghisolfi has climbed her first 9A, TCT, the route which was first put up by her brother Stefano in 2014. Ep.2045 has reported that Ukrainian 17-year-old climber Ilya Bikmad-Smolensky has made an ascent of Sever the Wicked Hand in the Frankenjura. Also reported by Ep.2045, Italian climber Lorenzo Bogliancino has made an ascent of Triptych Tonic 9A in the Gorge de Lou. Lorenzo has previously climbed a best 9A+. Italian 13-year-old climber Andrea Celis has made an ascent of Artin Kapan, a 9A in Osp Miziapek. Andrea previously climbed Pure Dreaming HC/9A at 12 years old. Belgian 26-year-old climber Anak Verhoeven has climbed Las Meninas 9A+, a Jorge Diaz Rula route in Rodejar. The former comp climber has previously climbed 9A+ and has done 15 routes of 8C/9A+ or harder. Okay, so that's the news so far. Next up, we've got the 9B counter. Hey, there you go. As you probably heard, there's a lot of multi-pitch routes, a lot of 9As being climbed, a lot of solos being done, but not many 9Bs at the moment, so there are no more 9Bs to add to the 9B counter. So, deal of the week at the shop, I kind of drip fed you a little bit before, but basically there is up to 20% off cams at the EpicTV shop. Now is the time maybe to get yourself some trad gear ready for your trad send. this autumn. So yeah, head to the EpicTV shop if you want anything. The links are down below. Next up, we're going to be talking about a little bit of media coming to EpicTV this week. This is a clip. It's from a film called Extra Sistole.
E paragonandola un po' a Goldrake è una via un po' diversa perché proprio anche a livello di esposizione si trova su questa struttura a forma di cuore che è proprio esposta a sud e quindi prende il sole tutto il giorno, è molto difficile trovare le condizioni ideali, mentre Goldrake, essendo a est, è molto più semplice scalarci col fresco. Inoltre anche la logistica è molto particolare perché parte da metà via, da una cengia a metà parete, e quindi è anche un tiro abbastanza scomodo da provare, forse per questo che è stato provato anche poco negli anni, al di là della difficoltà.
That is dropping this Friday. Looking forward to it. It's a hard route. It's just to the other side of Goldrake, which is a pretty famous 90+ route in Cornalba in northern Italy. So if you want to tune into that, make sure that you are subscribed to the EpicTV main channel and you'll see that drop this Thursday. Next up, we're going to be doing comment of the week. So comment of the week this week, I've gone for two. Jonathan Ross, not that one, DDS, MHS. Jonathan, what does that stand for? It looks impressive. Unfortunately, MTS is neither going to Jakarta nor trying Hubble this fall. She broke her leg on her recent outdoor trip. We report that Molly Thompson-Smith climbed an AB boulder last week in the Lake District. She, unfortunately, on the last day, fell and broke her leg. She was due to go to Jakarta to compete in the lead, but she didn't manage to. That's her season over. We spoke about her trying Hubble as well. That was on her to-do list. So that's all going to have to wait, unfortunately. We are wishing MTS a speedy recovery. Next up, long-time watcher, long-time commenter, Randolph Walther. He says, Teresa was not willing to say the Italian swear word, I'm still curious, but actually then said Scheiße, German for to shit, or shite. Scheist. Good pronunciation, by the way. It was hilarious how you both repeated it again and again. Hope Signor Corti doesn't speak German. Maybe I'll beep it out. Maybe I won't. I only said it once. That's it. I think we're done. Thanks very much for joining me. Come back next week where I'm sure Teresa might be here, or even Matt. But then again, he is pretty busy these days. Anyway, thanks. Bye.